My holy grail of investing. This is a very difficult vlog for me to do. I've done a very long post. I'm trying to talk about it, but you don't have to worry. There's a link down below which will take you to subramani.com, where you have this whole thing which I'm trying to say. I miss out something while I'm talking, but while you're reading, you will see the whole thing. Now, what is this holy grail of investing and what philosophy one should have while investing is very difficult to decide. Secondly, if I were a fund manager, and thank God I am not, I'll have to write down what I want to do and do only that. Now, that is again very difficult. It requires tremendous amount of discipline, etc. Now, if you are an individual investor like me, and I'm not managing other people's money, I have the advantage of going to and fro in my philosophies. So I can buy indigo at a time when it is scary to buy indigo. I can sell indigo at a time when I think oil prices will go up. Right? I can do any of those things without having to justify too much as to what I am doing. I can then also do value investing and deep value investing at the same time, doing a day trading in some other share, saying okay, I think the results will look good, the market will sell, so let me buy when it falls, right? Or vice versa, saying good results are expected, the market will buy when the results are announced, so let me build a position now and sell when the so that's a trading position. There is a speculation position, there is a value investing, there is deep value investing, right? I could borrow and invest. A fund manager can't. I could leverage. I don't, but I could leverage. A fund manager can't do any of those things. So let us look at how you create your own holy grail of investing and why it is so difficult. So please bear with me. Of course, you can go down and read the whole thing. So the mistakes that I see people make is they will buy a very small portion. So this girl tells me, I was so happy that you told me, and I bought Procter and Gamble, and I said, wow, very good. And she bought it at a very low price. She bought it at about 1,000 or 2,000, and it went to 10,000. So I said, that's great. So how many shares did you buy? She bought 2 shares. Right? Now, that doesn't really change anything. Even on a 20 lakh portfolio, that doesn't really change anything. So, sizing issues, like all those issues are there while a person invests. So, what is the problem? The problem is we think we can copy. So, you read a Buffett who has largely created his wealth in the 1970s in the US. It does not mean you can do a cut paste of that here, because each person's approach could be different. For example, for me, Samir Arora, Prashant Jain, Naren Shankaran, Anand Radhakrishnan, each one has a completely different style, and now Roshi Jain, each person has a different style. So asking them to copy the other does not make any sense. So best is you participate with all of them, or you create your own style anyway. I've always held that Sachin Tendulkar couldn't have copied Sunil Gavaskar. He would have been inspired by Sunil Gavaskar, but you cannot copy Sunil Gavaskar. And neither did Sunil Gavaskar copy Vijay Merchant. And some of you are, of course, too young. You wouldn't have known who is Vijay Merchant. He was India's premier batsman at least couple of decades before Sunil Gavaskar, right? So really old vintage Indian cricket, but largely the principle is this: you cannot really copy, and all these big guys, big guns in investment give you a lot of confusing signals. So that is something scary also. Like Buffett gets deals which you don't get. It is easy to say what Buffett does. It is easy to see what he does. It is not possible for you to do what he does, right? So that is another problem, and each person is different. Sir John Templeton said you must diversify. He made his money in Japan. Buffett says Buffett has a huge home bias, and he invests only in companies, largely only companies in US. But he invests in companies like Coke, which anyway go abroad. So he gets international diversification through his companies, but he himself does not diversify in foreign markets. Well, not much. He may be buying companies which are investing abroad, but he himself does not come to India and say, let me buy a Reliance or things that sort. I don't know whether Reliance got a deal with Berkshire Hathaway, but as of now we don't know something like this. The rate at which, the other thing which worries me is the rate at which people want new shares. You tell them something like an LMW or a Tata Power, हाँ वो तो ठीक है और बोलो, right? You know, the Amazon kind of an effect that people don't want to take a decision based on the data that they have. So whatever they want to buy, a 500 rupee item or a 700 rupee item or a 50 lakh rupee investment, the amount of time they spend in shopping is amazing. But having done all that, they will still not put enough of their money. So having done all your research, if you thought LMW was a good buy at 2800, what is the point in buying 5 shares or 10 shares or maybe 100 shares? If you have the capacity, you should buy more. Unless you've decided as a strategy that you will buy at every rise or you will buy 100 shares every month or something. It's a stated philosophy. If that is not there, then what are you doing? Because when I meet people, I meet them with a Dobby list. They will have some 20 shares or 30 shares or some 114 mutual fund schemes. Absolutely no logic, haphazard, 4 large cap scheme, no mid cap and 3 small cap schemes, some hybrid schemes, 2 retirement plans, right? You meet people with such a large portfolio, and large I mean long portfolio. It's not heavy, it's not concentrated, it's just long, right? Some strategies you make money, some strategies you don't make money, and that is how your strategy evolves. So you make some money, you think, wow, this is the way to go. And after some time with the same strategy, you could be losing money. For example, one mutual fund took a cash call and looked brilliant. But when the market goes in a direction other than the direction that you are betting on, you will lose money. Then you don't look so smart after all, right? So those kind of things happen. And as far as gold is concerned, I'm more in the Buffett camp. I don't believe gold adds too much value, and I can look like a complete idiot in 2020 when gold has delivered value. Incidentally, I got into some gold that was more by luck rather than by planning. Some SGB issue had come some time back, and I had invested, so I benefited. But that I can't take credit for that. It is just luck that I benefited. I saw the SGB. I said, "Oh, I got money. Let me put it in SGB." I don't like to put money in debt funds anyway, so I bought some gold bonds. So maybe I'll just sell it off in the market and make some money. So it's not some strategic, tactical thing or anything. It just happened that I put some money in gold. And you can underperform. I mean, my fund houses can underperform for pretty long periods of time. I have a high sense of tolerance. I remember iPro Discovery making changes in its portfolios in 2017, and I told somebody, oh, he's making changes in the portfolio, okay, I'll review it in 2022. Because it takes time for a portfolio to take impact. So when I look at performance, I don't look just at the performance. Of course, performance could be good or bad. But if I look at a portfolio which I like, then I would stick to that portfolio. For example, HDFC Top 100 and HDFC Equity, it is not as though I'm liking their performance. There is nothing called performance over the last couple of years at least. But I'm very happy holding on to it because I like the portfolio. It's a little contrarian. It has things which I don't normally have in enough quantity, like SBI. But if it works, it works. For me, it's a contrarian thing. But again, I have invested in some of those mutual funds. Some of those mutual funds are something which I will never touch, and some of those mutual funds are something which I will never sell. So these I have been in since 1999, and I've continued the same schemes. I don't see any reason to make changes unless the fund manager changes or the fund house changes or something like that happens. So you have to stick to the menu which suits you. I mean, if you're a South Indian, it is idli dosa which suits you. If you're a North Indian, it is perhaps aloo paratha which suits you. So see what works for you, what does not work for you. You cannot get into unnecessary diversification, then that becomes divorcification. And more importantly, you need to find yourself a good strategy, create a good process, write down what you're doing, why you're doing, why it will work, why it will not work. For example, today, everybody talks about infrastructure and how Bharti is a great buy at 500. The same people were missing when the price was around 200, and now everybody turns around and says, how can there be infrastructure happening in the country without telecom? Great. Now tell me one thing, how can infrastructure be happening in the country without including aviation? I don't know. So right, so people will tell you, oh, when it goes down, you should buy in dips. And they'll also tell you, don't catch a falling knife. So, if you are getting confused signals from the media, from investors like us, feel very happy. It means you've started thinking. That's the best we can do for you. We can run blogs, we can run vlogs, we can come on television, we can have fun on Twitter, we can do all that, but you have to sit, you have to learn, you have to understand and then act. That burden is on you. Don't expect shortcuts available everywhere. Shortcuts don't work. It definitely does not work in investing. Thank you.